And now, Chris Kronos attempts to open a box.
So here we have the cheapest guitar I've ever seen. And I mean that. This is 50 euros. No, not even 50 euros. 49.99. Oh yeah, not including the shipping. But then again, even the shipping is only about 17 euros to Spain. No idea what it is in other countries, but still, the guitar itself is 49 euros. And here's a question you're asking. Does it sound any good? Probably not. Now let's give it a shot and see if it's any good first. It's better when you turn the volume up. Okay. So the first problems I see with this. The action is incredibly high. And if you don't know what that means, it means the strings are very high from the fretboard, which makes it quite difficult to play. Another thing I've noticed is that I've had to tune it up 5 times in the last 4 minutes. But that could just be because the strings are new, which is very common, to be honest. I mean, yeah, it could just be the strings are new. Another thing is the intonation is out. For example, you hear this string here. Oh, okay, that's not too bad. Okay, the intonation isn't as bad as I thought, but there is a bit of buzzing here, which is annoying. I've never heard a buzz like that before. Ding-a-ding-ding. Ding-a-ding-ding. Can make a song out of that. And what about the sound? The sound is, well, it sounds like a very cheap Strat. This is just a neck pickup here. Here's the next one. Sounds a little bit more stratty, but not really. It's just, it sounds like a generic guitar. Here's the middle one. The action's really high. It's actually quite difficult to play. And here's the bridge. They're really simple riffs and I'm messing them up. I know I'm laughing on the outside, but I'm crying inside. But no, it's not just from me being a really bad guitarist. It's actually the action. The action is really high on this guitar. And I know it's a terrible mistake for a workman to blame his tools, but this is crap. Hang on a second. Let me try with distortion. By the way, if you're wondering, I am using VST Amp Rack by Steinberg for these sounds. These are just presets from the program. It's never use presets. Sounds terrible. Okie dokie. Well, is this guitar worth buying? For most guitarists, I'm going to say no. This guitar is not set up properly at all. You have the typical problems like a little bit of the intonation is out, extremely high action. They're very generic pickups. They don't sound like a Strat. They just sound Strat-ish. So why would you want to buy one of these? If you are into repairing guitars, I reckon you could make a very good guitar out of this just by tweaking parts of it. For example, the action and the intonation are two things that are quite easy to fix on the guitar. That buzzing is terrible. The neck warping a little bit is also fixable. By the way, don't touch the truss rod unless you know what you're doing, because you will break your guitar. Also, the pickups are very easy to change on this guitar because the whole thing is mounted to the pick guard. The nut is just made of plastic, which is pretty easy to file down a bit to get a better action at the top here. The only slight problem might be the tuners at the back here. If you can see, these are very... these are the kind of tuners that some Squier Strats come with. I hate them. They're terrible. And it also means that changing them might need a couple of new holes in the back of the head. So, let's do a couple of repairs and see if I can fix it at all. This is one thing I've always hated on Strats. Trying to get strings through these holes. Which is why I always take the back cover off. Warning, if you have OCD, don't look at this. That is just... There's... nothing is straight in there. Oh god. These are the most scratchiest frets I've ever seen. When doing any work with frets, you're supposed to put some sort of protection for the fretboard, but I'm not sure if I really care of this guitar. This is like sandpapering sandpaper. These strings. Oh, straight through. That sound always reminds me of that show Catchphrase. Do you remember that? Okay, strings are back on. This is where you will access the truss rod. You need usually an Allen key. Although I have seen on a few old Strats that they use a Phillips screwdriver, which confuses me. And now what you're supposed to do is oh, okay, that's, there's no tension on that at all. I think I just like making my life difficult. Yep, that's what I like making my life difficult. I could just buy a nice guitar and play that. No, gotta buy the cheap one, make it better. Ugh, yeah, dickhead. Okay, so I've been working on this guitar for about an hour, and in that time I have changed the height of the action, the intonation, I've adjusted the truss rod, and filed down the nut. Oh, and I've also changed the strings. Let's see what it sounds like now. This one. Not bad.
Chris Kronos.